with a different kind of perspective because he was here, so he understands our building and knows the people here. So the one thing he's done is challenged us all to be at a point where we're all fighting for the same thing together. And when you have meetings, when you talk about it, when you're honest and you have these honest conversations, like we do in the draft, one of the things we do is everybody gets in, we get to have this conversation, we get to argue about it, and then we get to come to a conclusion, and it's our conclusion, our decision.
So that's unique in its own right, like you said. Normally, if it's a new coaching staff, it's a completely new coaching staff, and a lot of it is, but with Schottenheimer being able to carry that over, how much did that help you guys achieve what you did this offseason and building this roster?
I think it was really good because there's a plan offensively and defensively. You know, and every year you come into the draft and you know what you're looking for. We attacked it in the offseason, and then we went into the draft with a plan. And, you know, Coach Schottenheimer and Coach Eberflus talked about the things that they wanted, and what we did was we went out and found it, and we went over and over and over again, and we spent so much time with them. Like the coaching staff came out to the combine, we met at the combine, and we continued to extend these meetings. And so what we did was we got on the same page. And it's the coaching staff that he brought in. Coach Schottenheimer came in here. He didn't just bring in coaches that he was friends with because he's been coaching a long time. He went out to find the best and the guys to challenge our players and get the best out of them. We have some guys that have coached in college before, guys that have been in different spots, and excited to see these guys work.
And what was the influence like on the type of prospect that you guys were looking to acquire this offseason?
We're always hopefully looking to get good players. It's just when a new staff comes in, they're looking for these extra little spices, and seeing if we could find those, identify those, and give them the right value. But really the big thing that we talked about is guys being competitive. You know, we always talk about it, but we overemphasized it. And everything that we do is about competing, and that's how guys get
better. Next up, corner from Kentucky, Zion Childress.
Let's give it a go.
Safety from Syracuse, Elijah Clark.
Yeah! Safety crew. We love it.
Tight end out of Auburn, Rivaldo Fairweather. I heard at least one War Eagle as we were up there. I heard one while they were up there. Corner from Stephen F. Austin, Bruce Harmon. Wide receiver out of Oregon, Trayshawn Holden. Wide receiver out of Texas Tech, Josh Kelly. Tight end from Virginia, Tyler Neville.
I can't blow by my man.
Almost got it. Safety out of Eastern Kentucky, Mike Smith.
Safety crew. Love it.
Once again, let's give it up for the 2025 undrafted class for your Dallas Cowboys. The 2025 Dallas Cowboys rookie draft class. Can you guys make some noise? Starting with defensive tackle from Maryland, Tommy Akingbasote. Running back from Clemson, Phil Maffa. Defensive tackle from UCLA, Jay Toia. Tackle from Oregon, Ajani Cornelius. Linebacker from Florida, Shamar James. Running back from the University of Texas, Jaden Blue. Corner from East Carolina, Savone Rebel. Defensive end from Boston College, Donovan Ezeraku. And last but certainly not least, the first round pick, guard from Alabama, Tyler Booker.
The Dallas Cowboys, first and foremost. I actually did my combine training out here in Dallas and just living in the area for those few weeks and just driving around and be like, man, it'd be pretty cool to live in Dallas. And luckily the Lord worked it out for me to be a Dallas Cowboy. So it's truly been a blessing, and to now be here officially going through OTAs, learning and playing with some of my teammates, getting used to them. It's really just been a dream come true, to be honest with you. On TV there on pick 5, pick 7 is already on the phone. So I'm just sitting there and I see a minute and 30 seconds left. I'm like, man, I really want to go to Dallas. And my agent, the coach, was like, look at your phone. I was like, oh, they called me. Finally got the call. But yeah, I was super excited. I'm very blessed to be here.
During the summer, Donovan Ezeraku played at Boston College. Are you ready for the summer heat that is in Texas? Are you ready for this?
So I was just having a conversation upstairs, and I was like, yeah, it's been, last week, it was really hot week. And they were like, you haven't seen anything yet. I'm like, good thing we start fall camp in Oxnard, California, so I think I'll be.
Oxnard's different.
Yeah.
Then you get back out here for a little bit, and it's nice and hot in the middle of August. Fluids are important.
Yeah.
Make sure and hydrate and get through it. I'm sure Bill O'Brien told you once or twice.
Yeah, all that.
About it all. What's been the biggest thing for you so far being down here in Dallas?
It's been a very, very, very good transition and experience for me, honestly. I kind of didn't have a similar story to T-Book, but I had no idea I was going to be down here in the first place. And when I saw my phone ring on draft night and it said the star, like what is the star? And I answered it. Somebody named Mr. Jerry Jones answered the phone.
I've heard of him before.
So it's a very, 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 very great experience. It's been a blessing being here so far, transitioning from BC to here, meeting great guys. I think we have a very, very, very good rookie class, and I'm excited for the future.
So you like to come off the edge and sacking the quarterbacks and all that. We understand that. Is there someone either here with the Cowboys or currently playing in the NFL, or could be in the past, that you would kind of model your game after?
Yeah, I of course. I've watched tape with a guy that's here on the other side.
Yeah, he's a beast.
He's a beast. But I've watched, Von Miller's been in the league since I started playing football, which is crazy because, we're in the same league now. Many other guys, DeMarcus Ware, a legend. But I study a lot of guys. I try to take different and small bits and pieces from everybody, just to, kind of add it to my game in a way.
Make it your own, right? Here we go.
And the defense is a brotherhood, just like we talked about with the offensive line.
Yeah,
I mean,
so Coach Flus, like you said, he's real big on knowing the guy next to you, personally, outside of this facility. So I would say that's a little unique for me because everybody think it's just football that's gonna win you games when you come in the facility, but really it's when I'm getting to know Dono outside of the facility, when I get to know what makes him tick, what makes him go. So I feel like that's a special idea to come up with as a defensive coordinator.
What makes linebackers really successful, right? Really good defensive tackles too. So I want you to tell me something about Jay that maybe somebody doesn't know out here.
Jay has a fiance, a wife, fiance, right?
Fiance, wife?
Yeah, girl. Well,
Okay.
so I probably broke the news already, but yeah, Jay has a significant other that he loves very much.
That's awesome.
And yeah, so that's something I learned about Jay.
Jay, is this right?
Yeah.
Where did y'all meet? Where did you meet?
My girl?
Yeah.
At a church conference.
Very
LA.
nice.
Yeah. There we go.
You hear all the girls out here? I get to see the real side of football. That's awesome. And that's good coming off of an injury, but all things are looking good, right?
Yeah.
What's kind of the rehab process been like for you as you continue to get ready for the season?
I tore my ACL back in September last year. Had surgery October 15th, so I've been in Dallas for about 8 months. So after that, I guess after my surgery, I'm on the 7th month right now. So the process, you're going in and out of a lot of things, and we had the 30 visits, you had the combine, then you had the meetings, Zoom calls, and everything. So that was kind of interfering with what I had going on. But at the end of the day, I know how to deal with it, talk to myself, talk to my family, talk to God, the man, the Savior that brought me down here, and do what I got to do, and place my own circle. I built my own circle, surrounding myself around people that wanted me to be my best, and that gave me positive energy to just keep going, not getting down on myself, not going in a room thinking I'm not going to play football no more. Just taking it to myself, because at the end of the day, you got to be available for yourself to do better. So
Yeah,
that's kind of my role.
So, well, you got one of the best training staffs in all of football. I mean, I've spent plenty of time back there with Brett Brown and Jim Maurer and those guys. But what type of mindset do you have to have when you're attacking a rehab such as an ACL?
I mean, you gotta attack every day like you hungry.
Yeah,
like
sure.
you gotta attack every day like you're not the starter. You know what I mean? You gotta want to do it. Not do it because you gotta do it. You gotta want to do it.
100%.
And that's what a lot of coaches has instilled inside of me, and I've worked my way up to that and as a person being self-motivation. So I just go every day and continue to do what I do. And whatever they say, they ain't telling me nothing wrong. And I work for other legends and other players. So I'm gonna take their note, key in on myself, and do what I gotta do.
It's awesome. And it's not the only time you've had to overcome some adversity, too. I know you have a background as an Amazon truck driver, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Amazon truck? What happened there? Why did you end up doing that? And where did it lead?
Hey, y'all might need to grab some popcorn.
Okay.
I told this story
Tell me
a million
about it
times.
for those who won't.
But I ended up at Amazon pretty much. This is more for the younger generation and stuff like that. I don't know if y'all in here, but as I started high school, I wasn't the best student. I was always a good person though. But when it came to I was always a little guy. So after football practice, I tried to get some weight room lifted in and everything. Ain't know nothing about recovery. So I go back the next day thinking I can do the same weight now. But my freshman and sophomore year, ain't have the greatest grades. So the toughest thing my high school career was knowing that 11th and 12th grade year I wasn't eligible, or I wasn't I was a non-qualifier going into college. So that's kind of where Amazon kind of kicked in, because I'm a kind of person. I like to stay productive. I like to move around. I like to always be doing something to keep my mind going. So I got that Amazon job. My dad was doing his research. I continued to work out in front of my mom's yard, in the backyard, my dad's man cave. Brought up some weights upstairs to do some lunges, some squats, because the only thing I could use at that time while I was working at Amazon. So I'm keep it a little brief. Amazon came, went to Lewisburg. My dad called me one day. He was like, "Hey, Lewisburg want to offer you." It's a small JUCO in Lewisburg, North Carolina. It's too small, but to me it was big because it was another opportunity for me to go out there and show what I could do. And I also had free access to a gym, a field, and that kept me moving around. It kept me productive. I don't know. I don't like to take naps. I don't know. I like to keep going. So my whole thing about it was, okay, the Amazon was just a process. I felt like it was a process because this is not where I want to be. This is where I'm not comfortable. And that's where, when I say being available for yourself, you got to know what you want to do, and you got to know what you got to do to get there. So I went to Lewisburg. All I had to do was get my GPA up, my grades up. Got that up first 2 semesters. And then I came to East Carolina. I went to East Carolina Prospect Camp, where you ran the 40, the broad jump, vertical, etc. Same thing you do at the combine, but at the end we had one-on-one. So what they did was they liked what they seen. I was long, I was fast, I was a little smaller than I am now. They offered me, had a 2.0 at around that time. I'm not afraid to say it, because a lot of kids, I want a lot of kids to know that it's not where you start, it's not how you begin, it's how you finish. You know what I mean? You got to keep working. Just because you hit one bump in your road don't mean your job is done. You got to accept those challenges, And a lot of people say you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable, you know what I mean? And you got to put yourself in the positions in order to grow. And so that's what I did. Was I got through that JUCO, got that 2.0. They offered me that day, went back to school. All I had to do was get a 2.5 or higher, but I exceeded that. I said, okay, they want a 2.5, I'm gonna give them a 2.8. I might get my 3.0. But like anything to keep me away from that, you know. And I always said to myself when I was at Lewisburg, I was like, if I can make a C, I can make a B. If I can make a B, I can make an A. And that's just kind of how I just grew into it and just kept working, you know. So I learned from my mistakes or the lesson I had my 9th and 10th grade year, you know, not feeling like I won't ever be able to play football again or feeling that low with myself ever again. So just taking that into the future and for the kids, for the youngins, you know, your road ain't gonna stop, but I will say go at your own pace, like win your own race. You know, you ain't gotta live your life based on what you see on social media and stuff like that. So keep listening to the old folks, and that's what I did. Listen to the old. They ain't really telling you nothing wrong unless you got something else on the side, you know. But I mean, I take I think Shamar, whoever y'all said told me over there.
Yeah.
I took a little few key points from them and instilled it inside of my life, and it worked. So I'm here now. So I'm grateful.
That's awesome. How cool is that? Very cool stuff. Jaden Blue, Texas Longhorn running back, went to a couple college football playoffs. She got to play for Tashard Choice, one of the former Dallas Cowboys running backs, and he's already been very complimentary of you and the other guys that were in that room. I mean, how prepared are you for this moment, knowing that you played with other guys like Bijan and like Roshan and some of these other guys that have had success in the league, and you got to learn from a former Dallas Cowboy and Tashard Choice?
Yeah, like you said, the good thing is I had a coach that's been done there and played it. So that's my guy, man. He's helped me with a lot of things. You know, he's made me a better player and a better person off the field. So, you know, I give him a lot of credit. He's helped me get through a lot of adversity that I've been through and I've been there. Our relationship was really tight. He's a guy that I can go to at any time I'm going through something. So, yeah, he's helped me become the person I am today. And, you know, with the guys that's in the league now that played ahead of me at Texas, they also helped me in a big way. I followed their lead. You know, they were not only great football players, but great guys. So, yeah, I give Coach Joyce and those guys a lot of credit because, you know, I don't think I would be here today if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, Tashard, he's a great person, great man. He was a former teammate of mine myself. So I know he's gotten you prepared for the National Football League and being here in the Dallas Cowboys. So early on, I know it's early, it's OTAs, I got minicamp next week and all that good stuff, but is there anything that surprised you or is there anything that you've learned so far about being a Dallas Cowboy?
Nothing really surprised me, but playbook has kind of surprised me on how long, you know, the plays are and everything. But
heavy.
like I said, man, he prepared me really well to be on this stage, and you know, it helps a lot with him, you know, being a former NFL player. So he's gave me a lot of ins and outs of what to look for and you know what to prepare for.
Have you gotten to talk to any of those other Longhorn running backs that are in the NFL yet since you were drafted and gotten the pull from them?
I've talked to all of them still. Talked to Bijan, you know, I talked to JB the other day. Just you know, trying to get him some great words of wisdom, you know, to get through his injury again. Talked to Keelan some, and you know, I talked to Roshan also. You know, they also check on me and make sure I'm all right. So yeah.
What's it been like also having a guy like Phil here, another running back in the room that's in the same situation? Phil, I know, what has your situation been like for the most part, having the combination between you and Jaden?
Oh, it's been awesome, you know, just for us to be able to come in together, able to compete, make each other better. You know, iron sharpens iron, and, you know, we make each other better. And I'm just excited for, you know, the running backs that are in the room too, those veterans. They have so much knowledge and we get to learn from them every day, you know, get to know them and just, you know, really bind together as a team, and those things, you know, are priceless.
What would you say your biggest strength is coming into the National Football League being a running back? Like what set you apart and let you be dominant to be able to be in this position you are right now?
I would say my size and my quickness at my size and being able to, you know, pass pro and catch the ball at the backfield, you know, just being able to utilize who I am as a bigger guy, but still being able to move.
And you can run over some people too. I've seen it on tape a couple times. Big-bodied running back. You love contact, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You've told me that before too. You invite contact. I mean, I know you're not hitting yet, but how do you anticipate the step up whenever it comes to the preseason and the NFL physicality?
I do believe the NFL is definitely physical, but you know, my mindset is just prepare myself the best I can each and every day And, you know, when I get that opportunity, give it my all. And I know that because I prepare myself, my confidence will be there. And I believe that will make me successful in the end.
You got to be friends as running backs, both Jaden and Phil, with your offensive line. How much have you connected with these guys across the board, like a Johnny, like Tyler, a couple of the guys that are on the team already offensive line-wise, to be ready for that moment?
All the time. They're the guys who lead the way, and you know, without them, there's no, you know, us. So I take a lot of pride in, you know, being there for my alignment and making sure that I, you know, do as much as I can to make sure that, you know, they have my support and appreciate them, because, like I said, they make everything happen. And you know, for me to be able to be the player that I want to be, you know, they have to, you know, get that done up front. So, like I said, man, I try to do as best as I can to make sure I'm doing, you know, everything in my power to make sure that I keep those guys up and they have my support.
But Johnny, has he bought you dinner or anything yet? Has he taken you out? You know, you hear quarterbacks do that, but I think running backs should too, right?
Whole room.
I'm still kind of waiting on that, but I'm glad you brought that up. This weekend we can probably figure that out, right, Blue?
Just trying to like nudge it a little bit, you know, trying to help you out a little bit here. What's it been like for you on the offensive line? Just like Tyler said, getting to learn from some of these guys. It's kind of a new room, but you also have some veterans that are mixed in and sprinkled in there too.
Nah, definitely. You got the veterans in the room, which I'm very grateful for. And honestly, it's just been a blessing. The biggest advice to me from Coach Riley was just to be a sponge. And that's what I try to do every day, is grow as much as I can and, you know, ask questions and hear what the vets are saying, hear what the coaches are saying, and just take everything in and, like I said, just keep growing.
That's awesome.